brought to the meeting.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. I think we're ready to start here, guys.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
We're not.
Feel free to invite Sharon to all those people staff. Also, yeah.
Doing city business. Good afternoon. It is 4 p.m., which is different. On November 20th, 2023, time for our second regular meeting of the month. At this time, Mr. Blair will offer our invocation and Mr. Schultz will lead us in the pledge. If you are able and can stand, that'd be great.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as you look down upon this gathering today, we ask your blessing upon this assembly. For all the business that is going to be conducted, may it be done for the betterment of our community. Thank you for each and every one that has come out to participate in this. And we ask for your wisdom as we make these decisions. And for all these things, we give you praise in your name. Amen.
All right. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Roll call. Kelly.
Hernandez. Johnson.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Blair.
Here.
Chrisman.
Here.
Hawk. Lynch.
Here.
I'll move that we excuse Miss Hernandez.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Chrisman.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
I move that we excuse Mr. Hawk.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Johnson.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Chrisman.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. I have now 5
That just keeps showing up.
of my students, and they're on break this week, so this is a real sacrifice. For 25 points, they actually probably just got up. Well, that's Gabe anyway. I don't know about the rest of them. He's usually asleep in the morning. Gabe, you want to start? Stand up and tell them who you are.
Gabe Perez, Junior.
Yes, you might have seen him. You might have gotten Dairy Queen from Gabe. He works at the Dairy Queen. Isaac, tell them who you are.
I'm Isaac Good. I'm a junior at Washington Cross High School. You probably seen me on the football field a few times.
Both those guys. And
Okay.
then the one behind him you've seen, he's the most exciting football player in the Frontier Athletic Conference. And Mr. Denon, I want you to note his sweatshirt.
Oh, appropriate.
Tell him who you are, Rock.
Rocky Jones, Junior at Washington Cross.
And I'm hoping he
What grade
goes.
you in, Rocky?
He's a junior,
Junior, okay.
and he is one great football player. That next young lady, will you stand up?
I'm Molly Lynch. I'm also a junior at Washington Courthouse. And I am Dale Lynch's granddaughter.
Unlike Ted Hawk, I think I have great looking great. And there's one more
Oh, I got
here.
another one.
Okay, Maddie, tell them.
I'm Maddie Allen. I'm a junior at Washington High School, and I actually want to be on city council one day.
Oh.
She told me the very first day of school this year, I want to be on city council. She may be president of the United States.
How old do you have to be on city? 21?
No, I think 18 is.
18, yeah.
Yeah,
18, there you go.
But she wants to go to school.
Okay.
Anyway, Kelly, I hope you got all those. They're great
I
young
think so.
people.
I did.
Great young people. Okay, approval of minutes from the November 8th, 2023 meeting. Anybody see anything? Did we get Mrs. where Mr. is supposed to be? Or-
Well, I looked through it.
I
and
did too, I didn't
any.
see any.
I double checked
So
it.
I'll move that we accept these minutes as put on this paper.
Second.
Okey-doke, roll call?
Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Any communication, Mr. Denon?
None.
We have Service, Safety, and Recreation, which Mr. Hawk would normally read, but he's in Honduras, so I believe Mr. Johnson's gonna read that.
Yes, the Service, Safety, and Recreation Committee met in council chambers located at 105 North Main Street on Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Mr. Ted Hawk presided, and those in attendance were Mr. Jim Blair, council member, myself, council member, Mr. Jim Chrisman, council member, Mr. Steve Schultz, council member, Mr. Dale Lynch, council chairperson, Mr. Jeff Finari, police chief, Mr. Ron Sockman, service director, Mr. Tim Downing, fire chief, Mr. Jody Langley, assistant fire chief, Mr. Mark Pitstick, city attorney, Mr. Joe Denon, city manager, Mrs. Christina Collins, finance director, Mr. Sean Remington, and Mrs. Sylvia Call, citizens. Number one, the committee benefited from a general report of the Washington Fire Department. Chief Downing addressed the committee and discussed the option of implementing upgrades to the electric vehicle stations in accordance with the new fire code regulations. Chief Downing noted the importance of annual inspections and implementation of restriction to help protect vehicles and stations from damage. The committee recommended that Chief Downing and Mr. Pitstick present proposed legislation with code restrictions regarding the EV charging stations. The committee noted further discussion regarding the issue. Number two, the committee benefited from a general report by the Washington Police Department. Chief Finari noted that a new patrol officer had been hired on October 27, 2023. Number three, the committee noted that a new speed sign had been placed by the Washington Courthouse Preschool to monitor traffic flow. Number four, Chief Finari noted that the police department would be making a concerted effort concerning speed and driving infractions due to an increase in vehicle crash incidents. Number five, the committee benefited from a general report by the service department. The administration advised the committee that leaf pickup would begin in November. Bagged leaves can be picked up by calling the street department at 740-636-2380. Number six, the committee benefited from a review regarding the street repaving project. Number seven, the committee recommended that legislation be brought to committee that the administration proceed with the continuation of the agreement with the EMH&T for engineering services. Number eight, the administration noted that the storm grouting on Market Street would be completed to address any I&I issue before the Market Street Park project began. Number nine, the administration noted a request of the possibility of being treated water supplied to the village of Bloomingburg be considered.
Is it quality? Sorry. Treated water.
Yeah. Where treated water might be supplied to the village of Bloomingburg.
There you go.
That's, yeah. Number 10, the committee noted the increasing cost of supplies. In particular, the committee noted the cost of fire hydrants. Number 11, the committee recommended that the administration proceed to bid for lime and sludge removal at the wastewater treatment plant and the water plant. Number 12, the administration noted that a meeting was held with citizens regarding the need for improved pickleball courts. The committee recommended that the courts be reviewed for a nature work grant project. Number 13, the committee noted that the administration had been receiving the recycling survey responses. Number 14, the committee noted a request regarding regulations on trash and rubbish removal companies. The committee recommended discussions continue. Respectfully submitted, myself and Mrs. Kelly Ford, recording secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. You had a lot to read there. I think Ted owes you a
Yeah,
White
that's-
Castle or
Now you
something.
know why you left town.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
I'll make a motion that we accept these as read and printed.
Somebody wanna do a second?
Second.
And I would just mention to my students, it says, Chief and I noted that the police department will be making a concerted effort concerning speed. And, Maddie, when you get on city council, you get to deal with things like sludge.
Yeah.
Really exciting part
Figure
of
out
city
what
council.
that is.
Anyway, roll call, Kelly.
Okay, we have Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Denon, you're up, and I know you've got a meeting coming up this evening, so you probably don't
We're
have.
gonna make it quick.
All right.
Would like to suggest that somebody make a motion that if Mr. Lynch's students have come out on their break, that their extra credit be doubled for this evening.
I'd like to amend that to triple.
When in doubt, play to the crowd.
She seconds it.
Maddie seconds, I bet she does.
Yes.
Okay,
She's a quick learner.
yeah.
We are out and about collecting loose leaves. If you have bag leaves, you need to call 636-2380 and we will be along to pick them up. You have on your agenda legislation that allows us under new legislation to go out and apply for grant money for trees, and we need to do that because if you don't, then we won't have a reason to go pick up leaves. Also, you'll note that it's part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and please don't ask me to explain to you how planting trees affects inflation because that's a DC idea, not a CH idea. Natural gas aggregation. If somebody's knocking on your door about gas or electric aggregation right now, I would observe to you that we do not have any valid permits for door-to-door solicitation. And in particular, they also give you the line that this is what Joe Denon does. I do participate in the city's aggregation, but I don't know who these people are. So my guess is that that's a scam. So please don't do that. That brings us to Thanksgiving. Would like to wish everyone a happy holiday, and in particular, I'd like to express thanks for a community that cares about each other and cares about the community as a whole. And because we have to move on to other locations tonight, that's all I have.
Any questions? I believe he has a JED meeting in Jeffersonville and not too long from now. so-
Yes.
Did
Anyway.
you have the opportunity to pardon any turkeys?
Yeah, we don't pardon turkeys here.
Only
No,
the president does that.
they come already having met their fate at Kroger's this fall.
Time they get to us, they go already.
Yeah, they're
all that process.
they're or they're at Prime Meats and they're ready for their ultimate destiny.
He gobbled that right up, didn't he?
Oh man.
Out of order. Okay. Christina's gonna be leaving us and moving to Texas, so this is her last report. And Christina, we're really pleased, as Mr. Blair said in the finance meeting, that you came to us and helped us get through a difficult time. And we wish you and your family the best.
Thank you. And
Get
I
your
enjoyed-
cowboy hat and boots ready.
That's right.
Texas.
I'm saying I enjoyed living here and working here also, so I will miss you all. Okay, so the balance in the general fund as of October 31st is $2 million, which is about $200,000 more than last month, so that's good. We had a gain on all of our investments. Our Fifth Third Securities and US Bank investments had gains total together of about $13,000. And then Star Ohio had a gain of about $17,600, somewhere around there. And then I wanted to show everyone, I'm going to turn this way because I already showed you all. Whoever lives in Washington Courthouse and files taxes will be getting a postcard in the mail sometime in the near future. That we are still doing the online filing for your city income tax, and the new postcards will actually have QR codes, so if you have a mobile device, you can just scan that and it'll take you right to our website. If you don't have that, then we also have the link on here on our website that you can go to with your PC. But
And those would be going out in the mail, you say?
yeah, later, not yet, not yet. I just want to show them to you.
Any questions for our finance director in our last meeting?
Nope.
Okay, thank you again,
Thank you.
Christina. Mr. Pitstick, you've been picking up a lot of leaves and stuff.
Yeah, we've been picking up a lot of leaves, but the only thing that we're doing right now is filing charges for people who will not clean up their trash. Car parts and things like that. So we've had a considerable increase in those things actually than in the past. So I would simply ask everybody to pick up their trash and car parts
In their yards.
and in their yards. Yes, thank you.
Okay. We have one local resident and one came in late. Did you want to speak to council?
Yes, I would. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong building.
That's okay. We'll do in order here. Mr. McLean, you signed up to speak. If you would like to come up and state your name and your address for the record and tell us what you got.
Okay. I am Dan McLean, and my address is 1146 Countryside Drive here in Washington Courthouse. I'm come here representing the McNair Men's Mission. It's a new mission that has been started. We started work in June to establish a mission as a homeless shelter for men. The McNair Presbyterian Church, I don't know the exact details, but somehow the city has bought that and is in the process of transferring. We haven't received the deed yet, but we've already been making changes in the building, whether we have the deed or not, just to make sure we have that on record. We've been renovating, putting in showers so that that the men can stay there and be able to shower, and working toward getting a wash and dryer hookup to be able to do laundry for them. We've been meeting almost weekly, just lots of meetings. We've set a goal to try to be open by December 1st. That's pretty, right now it's looking pretty bleak that we'll meet that deadline. Just too much work that needs to be done. We feel like we got to have those bathrooms ready before we open up. So, even this last Saturday, I had 6 contractors show up unannounced saying, what can we do to help? And so there's a lot of interest, a lot of people. We actually have about 22 people involved in the ministry and representing 14 different churches. We've had recently, approximately 20 people sign up as volunteers we're trying to recruit men to do one night a month, to spend one night a month awake in support of a house manager, just so we have 2 people there to manage there every night, and trying to get 30 different individuals or groups, organizations, churches to bring in an evening meal for the men, do that one night a month. And so we're making good progress on doing that. So, and recently we've hired Kelly Michael, and Kelly's here, as a director. So we have the director in place, and we're still in the process of setting up all the rules and the plans, and we've got insurance turned on, we've been incorporated, we've in the process of filing for the 501c3, but it has not gotten filed yet. So anyhow, a lot of things that we're working on, making progress, and it's step by step, a lot of volunteers, and they're working full-time jobs, and so you've got to work with the time that they can give. But it's coming close. I think that if we don't make the December 1st, we're hoping within a week or so that we would be able to be open at least to start getting the guys off the streets and providing for them. So that's kind of a summary of where we are. I'm the president of that, elected president. And so if you have any questions, I can answer questions.
Is there any kind of state funding or grant money that you can apply for to help along with these, with everything that needs to be done?
Well, most of those grants, as far as I understand it, require a 501c3 status.
And you're applying for that?
And that actually takes 6 months. And so we are really going on donations right now. We did get one significant donation. We've had 2 of them, 2 different donations that we were coming, and they've kind of gotten turned away or delayed. Another large one is supposed to be coming, but so we're really pretty short on funds. I think we'll have enough to get all the renovations done with mostly labor being donated. We're just having to pay for materials, and mostly we're running with volunteers. Kelly will be paying her some. She's just part-time is all we can afford at this point. So it just, we'll try to get started with volunteers and what we have, and there's a chance if we don't get money that come February or somewhere, we may, if we run out of funds, then we'll just have to close. It depends on, how much the utilities in the middle of winter, what it costs. I know my understanding is you guys have committed to pay the utilities through the end of January. And so we'll be looking to see how big those bills are and start to build a budget for that. But anyhow, we are actively working, trying to recruit more funds. I talked to Community Action. At one point, they said they had $10,000 to give to us, but then that got put on hold. That was one of the things. So we are working with Community Action and several different groups. We've gotten some money from United Way. And so we're working on all of those things. But right now, we're still pretty short as we're just trying to get started up.
Is there any kind of special training the volunteers have to be there dealing with folks coming and going like that?
Well, we picked a pretty modest mission to begin with. That we're calling it Phase 1. In Phase 1, this is only going to be emergency shelter. So we're going to open maybe something at 5 o'clock, serve a meal. 9 o'clock we'll have bedtime. From when we open till 9, we'll have women there so we can make sure the guys are interacting well with them and that we can monitor that. We also have a big ministry program. My current understanding is about 10 men that are being trained to mentor. We're trying to assign a mentor for each guy that comes in. And then we plan to have a house manager and volunteers overnight. And then serve them a breakfast in the morning, and then we'll close in the morning. And so it's just emergency nighttime, and every night it'll be a different set of men that come in. If we start getting more, right now we're limited by 5, which is really quite modest. But Rod Bryant tells me that's the code, the residential code that we're limited to. And so that's a very serious concern because we feel the need is probably going to be much greater than 5, especially on those very cold nights. And we don't quite know what we're going to do on that. We've talked about having a lottery where the lowest 5 numbers that are drawn get in for the night. That will give us some rotation so the same guys aren't there every night. But just a very serious concern about what we're going to do, turning guys away that might be needing shelter on a very cold night. And so I know that at least in some cities and so forth, that they have the city establishes some kind of criteria that if it's so cold or such and such weather conditions that you're allowed to exceed that zoning limit, that resident occupancy limit for for one night, and basically whatever the city decides, what are those limits, we could exceed that. And there's plenty of room in the building. There's plenty of room. That's not the issue. And the occupancy for the building in the past is for people in church has been much, I think the occupancy is a couple hundred. So in that sense, I don't think there's a danger there. And with people awake to make sure that everything is, I don't think it's much of a safety issue. But it depends on the city and the zoning and what those requirements are. But right now, that's what we're facing, trying to live up to.
And Dan, you do have a Facebook page also that
Yes.
people would like to go to it.
Yes, and I've got some other information, such the names of the people on the board, and various different ways to make donations. And I can leave these with the secretary, the address to send donations and phone numbers and so forth and things like that. Just brought that information sheet, and also I brought my business card. I can leave.
You can give this to
Dan,
Kelly.
Dan, this is also your opportunity. You're on camera and these are recorded. So if you want to make your pitch to where people can go to give their donation.
Okay, let me do that. They can write a check to McNair Men's Mission. And it just needs to be sent to a P.O. box here in town, and that's 908 here in Washington Courthouse. You can send a check there. Right now, as I said, we don't have 501c3, so we cannot give you a tax deductible return on that. You can also, we have a cell phone if you want to volunteer to help. That cell phone is 740-463-2558, and we've been asking people if they want to, for men to volunteer, for overnight volunteer, to spend one night a month overnight with them, or to any group that would want to volunteer to provide a meal, they can just text a name and the meal, and we'll get back with them and get that scheduled. So those are just some ways that they could get involved. We're actually, the building is on, the address is 503 Lewis Street, and it's at the corner of Lewis and Rawlings, the old McNair Presbyterian Church. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Okay, now your turn. If you would come up, state your name and your address, please,
Yes, sir.
for the record.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Lynch.
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Blair. Talked to you a few times. Mr. Johnson spoke with you too. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
Good. Heard a lot about you, never met you, but hi. My name is Frederick Ramey. I live at 1115 South Fayette Street. I'm here to speak of a pretty big injustice that's been done to my wife and myself. I went through 2 winters without a furnace in our house. And my wife was having she has serious disabilities. I just have a lot of disabilities. I've had 28 surgeries, stuff. Couldn't afford furnace. Speaking with Rod Bryan, he informed me about the CHIP program, and I'd forgotten all about that CHIP program. I'd actually volunteered many years ago when I was much healthier and younger and did free work for people. My issue is, I'm not gonna break out all these paperwork, so I've just changed my mind. It all started off bad. The very beginning was pretty good. The secretary that worked there, Chris Wayno, was the director of the CHIP program. And the young lady's name I forgot. She wrote us a very wonderful letter. She's very sweet and very professional. They had cut her down to part-time, and she needed more full-time work because she was ready to get married and have a family. So she left, and Chris Wayno went ahead and they approved the project for my home. And, you know, I was very appreciative of what they said they were going to do. Very appreciative. Essentially, I'm just going to get right down to it. They butchered my house. They never came back and finished it. They stole a rifle out of a gun case. They stole many items through my house. They didn't have tools. They borrowed all my tools. And then they took them with them. I couldn't keep up with that many guys. I had lead abatement there. They had to remove 4 doors and replace them in my house. They did the most god-awful job you've ever seen. I got insulation blows out into my dining room. And I had a heck of a time because right after they finished, COVID hit. So getting a hold of anybody was almost nil to none, impossible to do. I contacted the city of Columbus, the head director of HUD and the CHIP programs. I sent emails, never got a response, and this went on for quite a while. Went through this whole COVID thing, and I've got tons and tons of notes that I'm just not going to throw them at you, okay? Mm-hmm. They're dated, documented, names, everything. No response whatsoever. Then finally when CHIP, people started getting back in the office, I talked to, I believe her name was Bambi. She said they had a real issue with the contracts. They couldn't find them all and all the jobs. Then she informed me that, well, you signed off on it. Well, I did and I didn't. It was Dean Throckmorton Complete Construction was the name of the contractor. Now, in the beginning, it was understood that this was supposed to be a closed bid situation. And the first contractor showed up at my house. I could tell he was very professional, and he had a wonderful truck, good tools, and very good ethics. And I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it. He called several times. There were supposed to be 7 other contractors at my house, including Chris Wayno. Nobody showed up. So he asked if he could go ahead and do it, do his part. I was like, sure, absolutely, you can. So he came in and he did a great job. He tested for lead and everything, and he found lead in several places. And so he's like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He's like, nobody's calling me back, so I'm just gonna have to drop this off at the office. And then that's when I found out they had Derwin, a full-time secretary, a male. And I called right after he left, got no answer. I thought, well, I'll just drive down there. I drive down there, and there sits Chris. Chris Wayno was sitting there with another contractor going over this gentleman Mark's contract that just left my house that nobody would respond to. And I asked him, what's going on here? And he's like, well, here's the deal. He's like, I kind of got tied up, and so did the other contractors. I was like, but you can answer a phone, right? He's like, well, don't worry about it. We got your contractor sitting right here. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're going over Mark's bid, and we're going to be over at your house in a few minutes. That kind of threw a flag up. But at the time, I was just grateful that somebody's going to help me and my wife. So ends up, Chris Wayno, the secretary, Dean Throckmorton, the owner of Complete Construction, shows up to my house, and they're all doing their own assessment of my home. They renamed the rooms and everything else. Then a few weeks pass, and here comes Chris Wayno again with his secretary, and they did another estimate. So just to cut to the chase, I finally get paperwork from Steve Creed. It took almost a year before they could find it. And the only reason they found it is because I told them, hey, those guys been taking this stuff home with them because I watched them do it. They've put the boxes in their cars and their trucks and taken them home with them. So they finally get them and they send them to me. They didn't send it to me. He had me pick it up at the desk, and I was like, this is not right. They did have me come in because they said they was running out of money and to sign off on a few things they couldn't do, which I was, that's no problem. I did that. And so I'm looking at this contract, I'm like, there's something weird about this. I immediately recognized the signatures was not mine and my wife's. They were forged. And then as I went through the paperwork and looked more and more, there was a lot of stuff marked off. Now, the day the contractors show up at my house, the first thing that when they walked in the door, and I'm pretty good at recognizing people in their past, they was loaded with prison tattoos. I was like, how long was you in prison? 10 years. How'd you know that? Your tattoos. I was like, this is not good. He's like, so was my friend. I was like, okay, great. Now, how am I going to watch all these? This is after it took like 2 months for the lead abatement guys to put 4 doors in that butchered them. So I try to keep up with them. They constantly are asking for tools. The contractor was never there, and if he did show up, he was looking at Marketplace. And that's all he would do, and then he would leave. Then all of a sudden, he decided to give the company to his son, who worked at 84 Lumberyard for years and really didn't know much about contract. And the only thing he did was complain about the wiring. And I just kept saying, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? And to be honest with you, one of the contractors, who was a good man, I actually gave him tools and he gave me tools. I liked him. He was a very good guy. He said, his son is down there marking all things we're supposed to do, and I'm not supposed to tell you that. I'm like, really? Now, I actually could have took that list. He left it on my counter, but I'm not a thief and I'm not a liar. I didn't take it. But I did confront him about it. He blew up on me for a second. Then he asked me if I wanted to buy one of the 3 chainsaws he bought from Tractor Supply because he just got his check from the county. I'm like, no, I don't want your chainsaw. I want you to finish my house. And he's like, no, I got your screen in the back. I'm going to rescreen it at home and bring it back to you. I've yet to see that screen, and none of them ever got done. My house is completely butchered. Now, approximately a week ago, Steve Creed, this is who everybody got, they dumped everything in his lap, and I'm not putting nothing on Steve. He could, he got a dump truck dumped on him. He came to my house, and I forget the lady's name because she's got 5 years in construction, and we did have to leave too, by the way, last summer and stay in a motel while they did lead abatement again. She ducking and dodging, and I finally asked her about the signatures and the contract, and I do have it recorded. She admitted it was fraud. Admitted it. Now, they couldn't get a contractor within Fayette County to work on my home because they talk to each other. Everybody's afraid to work on my house because of a potential lawsuit. And it's highly likely I will because the stress I've been through. I mean, who's going to give me back 4 years of my life? Who's going to give me back my property? Nobody. I still find stuff missing. It's just an ongoing case. They did put a heat pump in my house. I couldn't even get the guy sold that to some young men to run the company, and he had a prosthetic leg. He was going to retire. He came to my house 3 or 4 times trying to fix stuff on that. Even that, it's still leaking. My floors are wet. I tried to get insurance to cover the electricity and the plumbing and the wiring and everything, but as soon as they looked in the basement and seen that they used nails bent over and pieces of string to hang the wiring and the plumbing wasn't finished, it's like, you're not insurable. We cannot insure this. It was $19 a month. That's all I had to pay. It would cover everything. So basically, we got a ton of fraud, and that's the bottom line. Then these contractors, they got the money and left, and they never came back for warranty work, anything. I never got a single one back.
Okay, first of all, I believe the CHIP program is now under, as you've already mentioned, Community Action. That's the Bambi you were talking about is Bambi Bond, who's the head of Community Action.
Right.
And Steve Creed is their housing person.
Yep.
The fraud, you never reported anybody stealing anything? Or?
Of course, I called the police and I informed them that a rifle was missing from my house and many other items. I had a watch from my great-great-grandfather that it was a Bulova that dated back into the 40s, perfectly working condition. I couldn't possibly hide everything I had, okay? I grew up in a time where you didn't need a gun safe. I just had a regular gun case with the glass doors that my passed away mother bought me as a young man. I've been a hunter and a fisherman my whole life. I let them know. I know what's in there. And then I figured out how they was stealing stuff. They wouldn't clean, nobody would clean up. I kept getting told, leave everything the way it was. My house is totally trashed. I made 3 trips to the dump, but when I went to pick up some plastic that they had stuffed in the hallway, out came some of my wife's pewterware, some special decorative cups, crystal cups. They was all rolled up in the trash, and those guys said they was hauling it off in their car because they'd already took the dump truck away, and they would take care of it. But after they quit, that was the end of it. I never seen them again.
Okay, so what we're dealing with here is a crime, obviously. Mark, tell me what, we're not in charge of CHIP programs, the city
Well,
is
here's
not.
the other crime. I mean, okay, who runs the CHIP program? Because I've been getting passed around. It's the city, it's the county. It's like, okay, who is it? Which one is it?
Community Action.
I'm sorry?
Community Action, as far as I know, is in charge of the CHIP program. You mentioned Steve Creed, he's Community Action.
Okay, yeah, that's right. But he was the last man on this train. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. But what I do know is, this is fraud. They butchered my house. It's unfinished, and she told me to find my own. I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry. She told me, she said, you're going to have to find your own contractor, and we will honor it. And I asked her, well, what will you honor? She's like, well, we're going to take care of it. They put the water heater in my kitchen, but built a god-awful wall against it, and nothing matched. They threw the paint on the floor and told me I could paint it. Like,
Okay.
well,
Mark, is there anything the city can do here? I want to help you, but I want to know what we can legally do
Yeah,
here.
so let's say this.
Well, what I would suggest he do is talk to the county prosecutor with reference to this stuff. This is fraud and contract fraud, and it's through Community Action. I mean, Community Action has responsibility to go forward with this too. I mean, it's not something that the city has any responsibility to. We'll be happy to help him any way I can, but there's been no police reports, as far as I know, that's been filed. This is the first that I've heard of it. So if Community Action wants to come and sit down and talk about it, I'd be happy to.
this is the first you've heard of it, sir?
First I've heard of it.
Okay, well, Mr. Blair was at my house, Mr. Denham was at my house, we had a conversation over this, and I informed him, I did call the police, but the problem is I was,
How many years ago did this occur, Mr. Ramey?
I'm sorry?
How many years ago did it occur?
Oh, yeah, okay, we're gonna get to the statute of limitations, okay.
No.
Okay,
no.
this was in 2019, closer to 2020. Then COVID hit. I couldn't and I'd already been working on trying to get somebody back. Chris Wayno would never, I got messages on my phone. I was told he was released by resolution. Everybody refused to say the word fired, terminated. No. Because he would not return a call or come in to address the issues that was many and large and the amounts of money. So he got simply released by resolution, and my final text to him is, I found out why you're not calling me back now. You no longer run this county outfit, but here's my problem. I've been getting passed around so much. I've spent these last few years, I brought a 15-foot picnic table in my house, set it up as a desk. I burned my phone up. I would spend 6 to 8 hours a day on that telephone. And every time I would talk to anybody within this city and in this county, they would say, oh, it's a city issue, it's a county issue. And it went back and forth. And the other problem I had was there was supposed to be a final home inspection on that by code enforcement, okay? He showed up, it was Mr. Rod Bryant. He sat down on my porch. Now, he was there for the preliminary because of the electricity, make sure they were doing electric right. And we talked about the fact he had cancer, and I said, I was sorry about that, didn't know. Now, Rod and I always got along. As soon as I mentioned COVID, he blew up. Refused to inspect the house. Told me take pictures, make notes, bring them to him, and don't tell him no lies. I didn't appreciate that. He did not do his job. This may not have went this far if that final inspection was done.
Okay, I want to help you. I'm not sure what the city can do to help you, but Mark's already said, Mark Pitstick here has
Yes,
already
sir.
said he will help you. We can get together with Community Action and we'll try to help you. I just want you to know we're not passing on something. We just don't have any control over that. So Mark, am I right? Will you meet with him?
I would be happy to meet with him.
And we can get with Steve Creed at Community Action, and he's their housing person, and see if we can help you.
Yeah, I'd much appreciate it because, you know, I'm not looking for no pity party here.
No, I
You
know
got
that.
to understand what I'm saying to you. I moved out here 17 years ago, and I had a farm, but I had to get my son out of the school district because he was being targeted by real gangsters, not these wannabes out here, guys that carry guns. Real Bloods, Crips, Sereno, Brown. Believe me, I know these people. I have not had a good time living here at all. I moved next door to a good old boy that belongs to the good old boy club. I've had all kinds of issues, finally got them calmed down. All my neighbors and I, we all get along now. Mr. Jim Noble passed away, and all my neighbors and I, we love each other. We take care of each other. But my
Okay,
issues is,
Mr. Ramey, can I just say, we're
Sure.
gonna help you.
I hope so.
You can tell that we're gonna help
And
you.
I'm sorry if I sound a little aggressive. I got a bad hearing and I do talk loud.
Well, no, it's not that.
No.
It's just that there's nothing we can do right now.
Okay,
So we're going to try to help you.
okay, and
Okay.
this is a matter of record, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you'll come in and talk to Mr. Pitstick,
Okay,
maybe we can get together, I hope, with Community Action. But that's all we can do right now.
Yeah, I've
So
already made contact with
We've heard
Dave
your
Yost
story,
office.
I understand your frustration, I do. It sounds like a lot of problems, so we will try to help you any way we can.
yeah, I mean, even when my sister passed away during COVID, Chris's secretary jumped up in my face and screamed at me, and I'm not gonna use his colorful language, but he said he didn't give it.
Okay,
Okay, and that was, that was very hard for me not to react to.
okay, but we need to move on. So
Okay.
we've heard it, and we're listening, and we're going to try to help you.
Okay, I hope so. So how do
Okay.
I set up a meeting with you, Mr. Pistic?
Yes, when we're done here in a little bit, you can set up a meeting.
Okay, good deal. Thank you
Okay.
so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Thank you.
We have legislation, and the first is that previously introduced, and we have resolution number R 43, second reading.
I'll move we put resolution R 43, 2023 on second reading.
Second.
Okay, we'll give Mr. Chrisman this one. Discussion? Roll call.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Resolution number R 43-2023, a resolution authorizing Joseph J. Denon, City Manager of the City of Washington Courthouse, to enter into an agreement for professional services with JRG Consulting LLC, doing business as Enterprise Advisory Group.
Move for adoption.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. We have new legislation in writing, and it's resolution number R 44/2023. First reading.
I'll move we put resolution R 44/2023 on first reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Resolution number R 44/2023, a resolution authorizing Joseph J. Denon, City Manager of the City of Washington Courthouse, to apply for grant funding through the Ohio's Urban Forestry Grant Program, inflation reduction for community forestry programs, and accepting grant obligations if funded.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, what do you have for us?
Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope you have a good time. Hope you eat a lot of turkey. And my favorite is mashed potatoes. Also, thank you for everyone who came and spoke. And if you're in Mr. Lynch's class, welcome. You don't have to only show up if you're getting extra points. So Maddie, you want to be on city council? How many signatures will you need when you turn 18 to be on city council? Do you know that?
It's being whispered in the
Good, you do. You need 50. So, yeah, good luck. Good luck. Keep it up.
Maddie, I'll sign your petition. All right, Mr. Schultz.
See, now you only need 49 more. Again, thanks for everyone for showing up and talking about the things you needed to speak about, and good luck with the shelter. I mean, it is needed, that's for sure. So hope it all works out. So, and in the evenings, it's really cold, and you only got 5 people you can bring into it. Have some ministers come in and preach all night long and have people sit in the pews. That way you get around it. That way you get around it. You'll keep them inside all night long. And good luck to the students, and good luck to you. So glad you brought up your situation, and hopefully that there'll be some help coming your way, at least good advice. So. Thanks everybody else. Have a nice Thanksgiving and enjoy the, see you guys out of school when?
All this week?
Oh, all this week. Oh my goodness. Well, stay safe. All right, have a good Thanksgiving and don't anybody overeat. So thank you very much.
That's what it's about.
Sir, if you got people working in your homeless shelter,
Pardon?
if you got people working in your homeless shelter and they need equipment, I'd be more than happy to loan it to you.
Oh, really?
I have plenty, I've got saws, everything you wanna need. I just can't do much anymore, so I would have no problem loaning them to you to help.
Okay, we'll talk afterward, I'll get your name. Okay.
That's good. Thank you. Mr. Blair?
Well, I was just thinking about the young folks that were here tonight, you know, they get all this time off. You remember back in the day, you all seen pictures of these people going up the hill in the snow and all that things.
Both ways.
Both ways, yes. That's when things were tough. Now, you kids nowadays. But anyway, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a very informative meeting. And as I was speaking with the young lady, the future city council lady there, I mentioned to her the fact that all of these are on YouTube. Usually it's 24 to 48 hours after they're recorded. So you're all on camera. Go on YouTube, just look up City of Washington Courthouse City Council meetings and check yourself out. That's all I have, Mr. Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Mr. Chrisman?
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, been informative. And good luck to Mrs. Collins, I don't envy in your move, but good luck in your new job. Appreciate the help, you were very helpful here. Thank you, that's all I have, sir. Oh, happy Thanksgiving. How could I forget that?
How could you forget that?
Well, at Thanksgiving, we're supposed to be thankful. And I'm thankful for citizens who care about people who are homeless. I'm thankful for people who come in and have a problem and want to look for help. I am very thankful for students. And I'm very thankful in the city for our employees. I've said many times, we sit up here and vote on legislation and all those kind of things, but it's the people in the service department that go out and do the work. It's the police department that goes out to try to keep people safe. It's the fire department that goes out and tries to help people. It's all of our different departments that really make this city work. We just say yes or no to votes. They go out and do the actual work. And so to all our employees, I thank them for what they do every single day. And I thank the people here in the city building, and Mark and Joe and Kelly and all the other rest of the gang here for what they do to keep this city operating. So I'm very thankful for all those things, and Christina, I am very thankful that you were here and joined us. I've enjoyed knowing you. We've had a lot of talks, and anyway, I've enjoyed getting to know you, and best wishes to you and your family as you go to Texas. And the name of the town is Humble?
Humble.
You have to be humble to live in Humble, Texas. Anyway, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Johnson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Chrisman, Lynch.
Yes, we are adjourned at
Jim didn't want to leave.
4:50.
Now you guys have 30 minutes. Now they only have 30 minutes to make it to their next meeting.
Wait a minute, Molly, come here.
Yeah.